There was a young man named Ryan, who was always busy but never fulfilled. He had goals, big ones, to build his career, get fit, and learn new skills. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't seem to make real progress. He was constantly distracted, pulled in 1,000 directions, starting everything and finishing nothing. Every morning, he woke up full of energy and ambition, but by noon, his mind was scattered. His phone buzzed, his thoughts drifted, and his time disappeared into notifications, emails, and endless scrolling. At night, he would sit on his bed and whisper to himself, "I worked all day, but what did I actually do?" One day, he visited his grandfather, a quiet man who had spent his life as a farmer in the countryside. Ryan admired him deeply, the kind of man who woke up before dawn, worked with purpose, and seemed at peace with everything he did. As they sat together on the porch, Ryan finally said, "Grandpa, I don't get it. I'm working all the time, but I feel like I'm going nowhere. How did you stay so focused all your life?" The old man smiled, looked at the fields stretching into the distance, and said, "You ever see a magnifying glass burn a hole in a leaf?" Ryan nodded. His grandfather continued, "If you keep moving the glass around, the sun can't do anything. But if you hold it steady, the sun can burn a hole right through. Even a small light can set a fire." Those words hit Ryan harder than any lecture or motivational quote ever had. Even a small light can set a fire if it's focused. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about that magnifying glass. He realized his problem wasn't effort, it was direction. He was chasing too many things, scattering his energy everywhere, and wondering why nothing was growing. So the next morning, he made a decision that would change his life. He took a notebook and wrote at the top, "If everything is important, nothing is." He listed everything he wanted to do, 10, 15 things, and then forced himself to choose 3. Just 3. The rest he crossed out. It hurt, but it was necessary, because focus means sacrifice. He decided he would give all his energy to those 3 things: his fitness, his craft, and his relationships. Nothing else. At first, it was hard. His mind screamed for distraction. His phone felt like an itch he couldn't scratch. Every few minutes, he wanted to check something, open something, do something else. But he remembered the magnifying glass. He remembered that clarity wasn't found in doing more. It was found in doing less. He started small. Every morning, he'd wake up and write down his top 3 priorities for the day. No matter what happened, those 3 tasks had to get done. Everything else was optional. Slowly, something amazing happened. His work became sharper. His workouts became stronger. His relationships became deeper. For the first time in years, he wasn't just busy, he was effective. Weeks turned into months, and his mind began to change. He discovered that focus isn't about controlling your thoughts. It's about training your attention. It's a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. There were still temptations, of course. Distractions didn't disappear. They never do. But Ryan had learned something powerful. You can't eliminate distraction. You can only outgrow it. He stopped chasing every new idea. He stopped saying yes to everything. He learned to say no, not because he didn't care, but because he cared about the right things more. One day, while working late in his small studio, he looked around and realized how far he'd come. The boy who once drowned in noise had become a man of clarity. The same hours, the same energy, but now they were aimed like an arrow. He realized that focus wasn't just about productivity. It was about presence. When he worked, he was there fully. When he talked to someone, he actually listened. When he trained, he gave his body everything. And that's when life started to feel rich again. Not because he was doing more, but because he was finally living in the moment. Months later, he visited his grandfather again. They sat on the same porch, watching the sunset. Ryan said, "Grandpa, I think I finally understand. Focus isn't about blocking the world out. It's about choosing what matters most." The old man nodded, smiled, and said, "Exactly. Most people let the world decide their focus. But the ones who build something lasting, they decide for themselves." Ryan thought about all the people who spend their lives reacting instead of creating, scrolling instead of building, wishing instead of working. And he promised himself he would never go back to that life again. Because he finally knew the truth. Focus is freedom. When you focus, you stop being a slave to distraction. You stop giving your time, your most valuable currency, to things that don't matter. You start building something that lasts. Focus isn't easy. It requires saying no when it's uncomfortable. It requires working when no one's watching. It requires patience when results take time. But every time you stay committed, every time you choose depth over distraction, you're building a version of yourself that can't be shaken. And one day, you'll look back and realize the world didn't get quieter. You just got stronger. So if you want to master your focus, stop waiting for the perfect environment. Stop waiting for silence, or motivation, or convenience. The power is already in your hands. Be the magnifying glass. Hold steady. And remember, even the smallest light can set the biggest fire if you just stop moving it around.